Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, and for today's video, we will talk about Greek mythology. And I have 3 stories in store for you, so without further ado, let's go! The first story that we have is The Curse of Medusa. Now, I love this story because I believe that it influences the world today. You see, despite its ancient origin, there is a very modern truth to Medusa's experience. She is objectified for her beauty, victim blamed for a man's crimes, and demonized by the world. All experiences that are sadly still very relatable to a woman today. Medusa is known as a winged gorgon monster with snakes for hair who could turn anyone to stone just by looking into the person's eyes. But Medusa wasn't always this despicable monster that she became known as. Believe it or not, Medusa was a beautiful mortal before she was transformed into a monster. Now, here's the story. While Medusa was a beautiful mortal woman, she served beside Athena, goddess of wisdom and knowledge. Athena was one of only 3 virgin goddesses, so Medusa vowed to remain a virgin while she served her. While serving Athena, mortals and gods would both take notice of Medusa's beauty. Medusa did not take part in any of the attention she received until Poseidon, the god of the seas, took notice of her. Poseidon was enamored by Medusa's beauty, and Medusa returned the same feelings. Medusa and Poseidon engaged in a love affair and would have 2 children together, but not before Athena discovered the illicit affair. When Athena discovered the affair, she was enraged and immediately cursed Medusa by taking away her beauty. She turned her long hair into venomous snakes and made her beautiful face so hideous that those who looked into her eyes would immediately be turned to stone. Medusa's life was forever changed. There is also another version of this story. One of the best-known stories of Medusa comes from the Roman poet Ovid. Medusa was seduced by Poseidon in a temple to Athena, and in revenge, Athena turned Medusa's beautiful head of hair into snakes. As she was both mortal and had the ability to turn men to stone, Perseus was sent to cut off her head. Oops! Spoiler alert for the next story. But anyway, the conflict of this story is that Athena believed that Medusa tainted her temple, and so she turned Medusa into a monster. Lastly, the theme of the story of Medusa is the destructive nature of jealousy and rage. The myth Medusa, a fearsome snake-haired woman from Greek mythology who could turn people to stone simply by looking at them, to illustrate the devastating effects of jealousy and rage. That is one of the main reasons why I love this story. For the next story, we have Gorgon's Head. This story is somewhat like a continuation of Medusa's story, but another character is born. That character is Perseus, a demigod and a son of Zeus. So here's the story. For the theme, the Gorgon's Head is a story of perseverance, bravery, and dignity. And here's why. Being the mystical creature she was, Medusa's head was sought after by King Polydectes. King Polydectes ordered Perseus, a Greek hero, to bring him the head of Medusa. There are 2 versions of why King Polydectes requires Perseus to bring him the head of Medusa. One version of this myth says that King Polydectes required gifts to be brought to him in honor of the king marrying Danae, Perseus' mother, and Perseus did not have a gift. Therefore, he was ordered by King Polydectes to bring him the specific gift of Medusa's head. Another version of this myth says that King Polydectes sent Perseus on this quest for Medusa's head to keep him from overpowering him on the throne. Regardless of the reason, Perseus accepted the request and set out to fetch the head of Medusa. Perseus sets out on his quest to find Medusa and behead her. He is given gifts from the gods to help defeat her, including the shield made by the goddess of knowledge and wisdom, Athena. Without the shield, Perseus would not have been able to behead Medusa. The shield was polished and reflective, so Perseus used it to mirror to sneak up behind Medusa without looking in her eyes. As he closed in on Medusa, he beheaded her and placed her head in a satchel to take back to King Polydectes. Now, the moral of the story of Gorgon's Head is that your journey through life is full of hazards. People will underestimate you, but those who try hard and zealous will achieve their goals and prove that you are capable of doing more than you think. One such story that I have been devouring for some time now is that of Hades and Persephone, a story of love, power, and a cycle of life. Their story is one of the most widely adopted in pop culture, which has led to further interest and glorification of the actual myth. Let's get through the story first, and then we'll talk about what it means. For the characters, we have Hades. Thanks to pop culture, we all know is the god of the underworld. He rules over the dead. He is the god of whoever decides the fates of the dead souls. Naturally, not many want anything to do with him because, hey, it's not like it's gonna be a picnic going down there. Persephone, goddess of the flower and daughter of Demeter, goddess of harvest and agriculture, is a quintessential good girl. She is beautiful and full of life. One day she was roaming the fields when the earth opened up and it came Hades, on his chariot of jet black horses. He immediately picked up Persephone and with her fled to the underworld immediately. Nobody knew what had happened to Persephone. Persephone's mother, Demeter, was distressed, to say the least. She was devastated, desperate to find her beloved daughter, but nobody could tell of Persephone's fate. Then Zeus asked Rhea, mother of Zeus and 5 other Olympian gods, to strike a deal with Hades, that Persephone will stay 1/3 of the year in the underworld with him as queen and the rest with her mother. It was essential that Demeter would be pleased so that life could return to earth. She returned to her mother and Demeter rejoiced at the sight of her daughter. Even though Persephone couldn't stay with her forever, she still reveled in the happiness of their time together. The earth bloomed and the land became fertile again. Flowers and grains grew, spring had arrived. When Persephone sealed her fate with that pomegranate, she set in motion a cycle on earth to which we bear witness even today. The seasons. When Persephone came back to her mother, Demeter brought spring in her wake, and when it was time for Persephone to go back to the underworld, Demeter went into mourning, and the earth once again became dried and cold, bringing the harshness of winter along with it. As time went on, Persephone fell in love with Hades and they built an empire which they ruled together as equals. She would become the young, naive daughter when she descended on earth and rise to the position of the fearsome queen of the dead when she ruled alongside her husband. Now, I tend to overlook the fact that Hades abducted her and their story had a hard beginning, like most people do, but unlike what we perceive of kidnapping, now in the original tale Persephone's abduction wasn't violent. He merely took her by stealth to the underworld. Even while it's still not very convincing, has proven to be a devoted and loving husband. He never married again, and there are very few reports of him having an affair. The death and rebirth cycle is symbolized by Persephone. Persephone's persona varies in unison with the seasons. When she visits her mother, she plays the part of a young, naive daughter, like spring and summer, when nature's energy is lively and alive. When she leaves with her husband, she transforms into the cold-headed, wise yet ferocious queen of the underworld, representing winter when nature is peaceful and mature, but not to be underestimated for its powers. It is stated that Persephone is compelled to return because of her marriage to Hades, although she no longer possesses her former likeness of foot, even though she is content when she is on earth. She has undergone a shift. Persephone, in my opinion, also stands for a girl's metamorphosis into a woman after marriage. She has completely transformed. Even while she's free to explore the fields and play with the nymphs, she has a sense of load and responsibility that accompanies a woman once she's married and has a house of her to run. I think she should be stressed as she is in a kingdom full of dead. So, the moral lesson of the myth about Persephone is the more we use our challenges to grow, the more we have to offer. The story of Persephone similarly teaches us that there is an abundant source of energy and strength amidst the integration of shadows. And that's all for today's video. Thank you and God bless.